Hello, good morning, and welcome to today's webinar, Expert Strategies for Travel Advisors Selling Cruises. I'm Lydia Gregory, the managing editor of Recommend Magazine, and I'll be moderating the webinar, which has been made possible by our sponsor, Cunard, and of course, Recommend. So this webinar is a complement to the 2025 What's Trending in the Cruise Landscape report, which will be made available in a follow-up email, as well as a recording of this webinar. During this conversation, with our panelists, you'll be hearing expert strategies and actionable insights to master the art of selling cruises. So before we begin, we'll have a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, I'd love to see in the chat where everybody is from. And number two, during the presentation, please feel free to enter your questions in the chat box. We'll gather them together at the end and hold a Q&A session in the last few minutes. And again, don't worry if you miss anything. The webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link via email to access the recording at your leisure, as well as a copy of that report. So we're seeing some chats coming in here. We have somebody, Jody from Wisconsin. Hello. We have Sandy from Maryland, Lisa from Colorado. Oh my God, they're coming in so quickly. Hi from Raleigh. Hello from Southwest Florida. We have Toronto, Canada in the house. We have Ohio. We have Kentucky, Sacramento, Old Bridge, New Jersey. Boom, 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 boom. More Ohio. Fort Worth, Niagara Falls, Ontario. Hello, hello, Canada, Connecticut, Melbourne, Florida, Ottawa, Montreal, Sydney, BC, Vancouver Island, Canada, Atlanta, San Francisco, Boston, Cincinnati. Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to have everyone on board here. Let's go ahead and start the webinar by having the panelists introduce themselves. First up, we have Susie Wright, the owner of Dream Team Travel. Susie?
Hi, thank you, Lydia. Yes,
Hello.
I'm Susie Wright. I'm the proud owner of Dream Team Travel, a valued member of Envoyage. My journey in the cruise industry began with 6 incredible working years on the cruise ships. Gave me firsthand insight to the guest experience and the inner workings of cruise travel. Since launching Dream Team Travel 4 years ago, we've grown steadily, and this year our sales are on track to exceed $2 million. Our success is built on a foundation of industry expertise, a genuine passion for travel, and a small but a very highly experienced sales team. Our true specialty is cruise vacations, and we bring deep knowledge of the ships, itineraries, and destinations to our guests, not just for trips, but for unforgettable journeys at sea.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Susie. Excuse me. Next up, we have Shelby Frenette, co-founder of TravelFun.biz. Shelby?
Hi, everyone. Susie, I also worked on cruise ships. What did you do?
Gift shop, duty free.
You were the gift shop. You were the
23
shoppy.
years.
Oh my
23
gosh.
years.
So I did 8 years cruise director, ended as the senior cruise director, but started, of course, as the little one. But yeah, that's how I got my start too. So that is very cool. So I'm Shelby Frenette, a former cruise director for Princess Cruises, 8 years at sea. I'm now known as the solo travel expert. I've hosted over 500 cruises and helped thousands of singles find adventure and connection around the world. We don't just sell singles, we do couples. In fact, a lot of the singles that we just had in the past are now coming on my Power Couples cruise in Tahiti in a few weeks. So it's amazing to see that they were single, they met the one on one of my cruises, and now now I'm going to enjoy them as a couple, which is so cool. I do run TravelFun.biz. It's an award-winning boutique host agency. Basically, we try to redefine how agents use AI and social media to grow their travel businesses. We've earned multiple Magellan Awards, including a 2024 Best Travel Agent Training Program and a Silver Magellan Award for Best Social Media Strategy. We actually sell our social media strategy to other agents, not just our own, because I'm so committed to really just transforming this industry and making sure agents have good techniques. I'm a consultant, a business consultant and coach to small business owners and some local politicians for social media, just to up their digital game. I've been a speaker at many events, and I serve on the advisory board for branchup.com, which is a huge social media platform, free to agents, which is amazing. You can catch my podcast, Cruise Director, on Spotify, or follow me, Social Solo Travel Expert, on any of the platforms.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shelby. I'm going to have to talk to you about getting on one of those solo cruises.
I tell you, girl.
And last but certainly not least, we have Jamie Margolis, franchise owner at Dream Vacations. Jamie?
Hey, those were really great introductions, by the way. Could I have gone first? Those are big follow. I'm Jamie Margolis. I have a Dream Vacations franchise. It's called Moms at Sea. I'm just north of Indianapolis in Carmel, Indiana. I am have been in business since about fall of 2021. And I came into the industry a little bit differently. I started an online community back in 2017 that we then transitioned into a thriving agency. We have, I want to say, between 25 and 30 advisors currently. And this last year, we were the top supplier for Dream Vacations for Royal Caribbean. We were the Dream Vacations agency or franchise of the year. And then I think one of the ones that we're most proud of was this year, we were Royal Caribbean's partner of the year for the Central Region. And we focus on primarily family cruises. But we start with the family. We do a lot of multi-gen, and then we found that we've provided a great experience. So we do get, increase from just the grandparents. Hey, we went on a cruise with you guys last year with our whole family. Do you do just grandparents? Yeah, sure. Like, come on. So that's
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jamie. We have a wonderful, wonderful group of panelists here. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Also, thank you. Thank you very much for being here with us, ladies. So let's go ahead and start. So what has been your most effective tactic for converting cruise inquiries into actual bookings? So we'll go ahead and start with you, Jamie.
I'm going to go with what is it they call the assumptive close. We just constantly we call it like we lay the breadcrumbs out, right? Like they're coming to you. So the assumptive close from two perspectives. One, that they're going to close it, but also when we're training advisors, just get it in your head. Just assume this is going to end with a booking. You are just here to help them solve the problem. They've come to you. They need help, right? So you've already got that working for you if you're new, right? They came to you, they sought you out. Assume that it's going to end in the booking. And so, we walk them through the process. We call it leaving the breadcrumbs, right? So, what's the breadcrumb for the next process? What's the next question that we're going to ask them? They come to us for us to kind of hold their hand, walk them through the process. And then at the end, you just kind of say, can I go ahead and send you the authorization for that deposit? Just very, very confidently. And if you've done the job and they came to you with a problem, if you've helped solve that problem, which is really what we're doing, then, hopefully it should result in the booking. So we just assume that it's going to happen.
Great. Susie, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, sure. Respond quickly. We can all respond quickly nowadays. Everybody has a phone in their hand about, 18 hours a day. Use the guest name. That's important. It sounds silly maybe, but using a guest name when you're speaking to them makes them feel valued and they pay attention. Talk about itineraries. The number one reason guests book cruises is because of itineraries. And truthfully, when they come to you, they probably don't know the difference between Bahamas and Bermuda. So go ahead and take a few minutes and spell out some itineraries for them. Never give more than 2 to 3 options max because it'll just confuse them. Maybe even recommend one for certain reasons. And always highlight the promotions. There's wonderful promotions, and it looks like it adds value and excitement to the whole process.
Shelby, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, sure. Those were great. And congratulations, Jamie, on the Royal Caribbean Awards. That's incredible. That's quite an accolade. Anyway, it's my business is mainly on social media, right? So everything for us is really social media focused because that's where we built the business. And so we go by the TTS social media method that's in our course. But just to give you an example, that I see a lot of people do wrong is I tell them not to give all the information in one lump. So you'll get a question, what's the pricing on this? And people don't understand the value of what you're giving them. So a lot of mistakes that new agents make is they'll just give the price, right? They'll just answer with the price, and then it's a no. It's more about, like, just like you said, answering questions, solving problems. But on social media, it's getting them to understand there's more to the story. So when they ask the price, we say, well, tell us, what else did you want to go to Europe, or were you going to Caribbean? Did you want to have that all included, or did you want to do things a la carte? Is it going to be you or your whole family? So just asking a question instead of answering that straightforward answer, because when they start to interact with you and they find out that you do have more answers, and just like Susie said, they don't know if it's Bermuda or the Bahamas. They don't even know what the cruise includes. They don't know what they're actually saying no to. The price of one cruise, for instance, might be all inclusive, and they don't even understand that. Where, if you got on a phone call with them, you could make them understand that. So my best advice to any new agents, especially that are transitioning on social media, that are getting their leads from social, is to ask more questions and get on a call. Plan a call. Because when you just answer questions on social media quickly and you give the customer what they think they want, you're losing most of your customer base, and that's not smart business. So as much as you want to be straightforward, you want to make sure you're getting this relationship, and you want to make sure you're answering the questions they don't even realize they need to have. They need to ask more questions. So get on a call. Don't answer the questions so
Can I
quickly.
really quickly add on to exactly what you said, because 100% agree. We're also all social media, and we're almost completely over email. We're working with like busy moms. They don't want to get on the phone.
Right.
Sleeping newborn. They're
Yeah.
not getting the phone. But to your point, we do not send pricing in a first email at all. And what we do is, we always say, is provide value. The first thing you want to do is make that connection. I call it making a friend. Make a friend, provide value. So if you can find something in their inquiry, oh, we were looking at Symphony of the Seas. Oh, I was just on Symphony last year with my kids. They're 5 and 8. They love the splash pad. They also love the show Aqua 80. You've got to see it. Show that you know what you're talking about first. I completely agree with you.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you're right. Moms don't want to get on the phone. We don't deal with a bunch of younger, that's not as much of our demographic, but that's a really good point. But some people don't want to get on the phone too. But exactly to your point, ask more questions, make a connection. Don't just answer the straightforward question.
Bite size, easily consumable information.
Bite size, yes. So I think those are great tips for all advisors, not just new advisors, all advisors.
Yeah.
So the next question was going to be, what key questions you ask a new client to match them with the right cruise? But I think we kind of just covered that right now with this back and forth. I think we got that in there.
Well, I would say really the answer there for me is past cruises, what they've been on, what their favorite things were, and then what they didn't like, and then try to bridge the gap there.
I'll actually expand a little bit with families specifically. Oftentimes, I love what Susie said about the itineraries, but oftentimes for the younger families, the cruise ship is the destination. They might not end up getting off that ship, depending on it. If they're having a good day, a bad day, the kids slept, no one slept, So we make the ship the destination, and we ask, what resources do they need? How old are your kids? Are they still in diapers? Do you need a diapered splash pad, or could you do a ship that doesn't have one? Do you need a ship with a nursery or a kids club, or do you not plan on using that? So for me, it's what resources do the parents and the family need, and will the ship be able to accommodate that?
And those are things that they don't usually even think of beforehand. Like, until you ask that question, a lot of them don't even know that childcare is free on most ships.
Yeah.
I think it's also, thank you.
Go ahead, Susie.
I think it's also important to find out geographically where they are. Home port cruising, with the growth of our industry, has been so instrumental in deciphering whether people can cruise or not, because with Carnival's 2 million passengers a year, 1 million do home port cruising, meaning they're driving to a local cruise port, 13 cruise ports around the United States. So that's a good first discussion and conversation
with current
to have.
Pricing, which I know we'll get to later, but with current pricing, sometimes they're really looking at the airfare. Am I going to drive? Am I going to fly? And that might make the difference of if the entire thing is possible or not.
Right. So excellent. How do you position cruises to first-time clients who might be skeptical or unsure? Susie, do you want to start us off with that one?
Sure, sure. Our industry has a 92% satisfaction rate when guests reserve with travel agents. So use the cruising value, the safety, the service features to sell it. And always, I'm sure everybody's doing this already, start with the small cruise, start with the Bahamas 3 day to lead them into bigger cruising in the future.
I saw both of you nodding your heads. Let's start with Shelby.
Well, I usually tell them, I've cruised over 500 times. I've met thousands of first-time sailors, and 98% of them are like, I wish I did this sooner. So on my own test, it's my litmus test. It's such a shame when people have these misconceptions, and the biggest misconception is I'm going to be confined. I hear that's the biggest misconception. I'm going to feel like I'm trapped, which we all know. You just want to laugh out loud. You don't want to be rude, but you want to be like, that's never gonna happen. Cruising is the best, and you'll never feel this is a ship, not a boat. And you'll never feel confined. So, I lead with what Susie said, like, the satisfaction rate is through the roof. Like, you don't know what you don't know until you don't try. The only thing I generally don't recommend a 3 day cruise. I go 7 days because I find the 3 day cruise experience and the ships that they have just are not up to the same standards as the 7 days. So I generally tell people just start with a 7 day cruise. You're gonna love it. And a 3 day cruise doesn't give a good litmus test of what a real cruising experience is, in my opinion. And it's totally okay if we, disagree on that. But I find that if you're going to cruise, like you're going to spend the money, do it right, and believe me, you're going to love it. I haven't had anyone not love it. So that's my testimonial.
Jamie, how do you work with
Yeah.
first-time
I
families?
love both of their answers, and I'm going to kind of fall right in the middle. I do think that there's some great opportunity with the shorter sailings. And what I'm calling that now is cruise and because our primary supplier, when we do a lot with Royal Caribbean, and they've given us some great options right now with some Oasis class ships doing short sailings. Primarily brand new Utopia right out of Port Canaveral. So I say cruise and what are you going to do with it? Do a short sailing and a few days at the parks.
Right.
Because families, while a shorter sailing can be great, I do somewhat agree with Shelby that if you're going to do a short sailing with a family, you've got to be very strategic about which one you're going to select and make sure that they're getting the right vibe. And another thing is, families, when you're packing up, a toddler, a couple of kids, and you're traveling down to Florida, maybe my personal opinion, but at that stage in my family's life, I was not doing all that work for a 3 night cruise. And I
Right.
think the families, it's very busy and they just don't feel like they really get that full, they don't really get into vacation mode. They don't really get relaxed. They don't really find their pace on a shorter sailing. So while they might still come back for a longer one, in my opinion, with the families, you either win them over or you lose them. It's closer to almost like a 50-50. When we'll poll our online community and people will say, should I do a short or a long? And it really is, it's half in one hand, half five in the other of what people should do. So you got to look at a lot. It's that drive market. Are they flying? Do they have to pack up a whole family? What are they looking for? You got to qualify them
Yeah,
appropriately.
that makes a big difference, families versus just a couple or a solo traveler. How do you tailor recommendations for multi-gen groups or families with different interests? Jamie, let's keep going with you since you have the family specialty.
Well, I love the cruises because there's so many things for everyone to kind of go off and do their own thing, but then you can find one, one time a day or, whether it's dinner or something that you can all kind of come together. So you can get that family time together and yeah, everyone can also kind of go and branch out and do the things that they want to do. I actually use my own family as an example. Sometimes we will cruise with my in-laws. I may see them every day at dinner I may run into them randomly on the ship throughout the week, but we're not like spending all of our time together. And what's funny is at the end of every single cruise, they come to me and they go, "That was so great. We should do it again." And I'm going, "We didn't even see you." Do you know what I mean? Yeah, everyone, like, they had a great time. They got to see us. And so that's the kind of, that's what we do is we kind of say, we let them know what's available for, if the grandparents, they want to go sit in the solarium, they want to relax, they want to go watch the kids do ice skating. It's just the multitude of options. And I also call it choose your own adventure. I feel like cruising, especially on these bigger ships, it's a choose your own adventure. You make of it what you want. What are you looking for? And the travel advisor can help you craft that experience.
Susie, what can you add to that?
We too sell a lot of Royal Caribbean because they are a family cruise line and they cater to all the different kids clubs and the activities and the My Time family dining, which you have to love it when somebody comes and picks up the kids from the dining room and the adults can finish having dinner together. So there are other cruise products clearly that cater to families as well. And it's all about just finding the right fit for your clients.
Mhm. Shelby, I'm not sure this question is quite a fit for
Oh
your
yeah, I mean, we sell
salary.
families, we sell it all. We sell
Okay,
singles,
okay,
families, groups.
gotcha.
We do it all. I mean, there's not much to add. Obviously, cruising is the best multi-generational family experience because exactly what Jamie mentioned, you can do your own thing and then come back for dinner, and everyone gets to have everything that they want, and it's separate but together. So
Right.
yeah, I same.
Perfect. Actually, I think the next question is right up your alley. It's what's working right now in your marketing efforts, social media, newsletters? Are you doing events? I know your social media is like your number one.
Yeah, we're doing on land events through social media, so that's very helpful. So we get together for other things like happy hours, and then we talk about the cruises there. But what I've found is most successful is that as the groups, because the groups share what they're going to do, and then the other people want to join the group. So, like I said, we have a power couples on a power yacht coming up in Tahiti a couple weeks. And so when those couples knew that other couples were coming, is my mic good, by the way? I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
we just need to move it back just a little bit, but yeah, it's better. It's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I apologize. And anyway, it's the power couples and the power yacht. The couples are like, oh, well, I want to go. Well, I want to go. And then we have a big group that mostly singles, and they're singles and couples, but mostly singles. And when they start talking, I'm going to go. Well, the FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. So that's how we get most of our bookings is just by doing a little group, and then the group grows and grows and grows. And I recommend it to all my agents, and of course all agents. We really want this industry to thrive, and there's well enough people for all of us, and to have good experiences with travel licensed and certified and bonded travel agents. So yeah, I love the groups. It's a wonderful way to grow.
Jamie, how are you working your marketing right now? What's working best for you?
That's always something that we're kind of going through and going like, what can we be doing differently? What are we not tapping into? Um, but we also continue just to lean on our social media. And I find just the strongest thing that anyone can do is to share your own experiences and tell your own story. There is nothing stronger than that you can do. So, I just did I was gone the entire month of May. I did a transatlantic and then a European sailing with my girls. My husband came and met us halfway through it. And it was just sharing that entire experience. So let people see that you're out there doing it. Anytime we have an advisor on a ship, they're going online and they're sharing it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think we're going to segue sort of into the next one about using video content to promote cruise travel. And Shelby, I'd love to get some tips from you on how advisors can do that to promote cruise travel on social media.
So one of the big tips is to tag, the people that you're in, let's say in the colleagues, people that are your friends or your colleagues. So you tag them so that as long as they know, don't tag people randomly and don't be a spammer. Like that's a bad form. But if you, for instance, we have 25 agents, and so the agents will tag each other because that way they're able to increase the algorithm on their social media platforms. And then if there's clients that are like, some clients are really close friends as well, and you're like, hey, can I tag you in this post so that more people can see this? That's something that I don't think is being done enough. Collaborating between agents is not done enough, in my opinion. Travel Fun is really based around collaboration instead of everyone, because as I said previously, there's enough travelers for all of us, and that shouldn't be working in that cutthroat zone. So more collaboration through your agencies. Obviously, between agencies, you're probably not going to want to collaborate unless it's at our level. But definitely for the agents, I think the agents need to collaborate more, and that helps their social algorithm. It also helps give them ideas and helps them want to help each other. So what's happened in our agency is that the agents that are good at like sandals, for example, when another agent has an issue, they want to help them, and they know who that professional in sandals is, so they know to reach out right to them because they've been so connected through social media. And then just tagging the right vendors, hashtagging correctly is really important. And now, really now today, and this could change, soon, but really it's going to be the reels, and the more authentic the video, the better. Really, like Jamie was mentioning, your own stories, but you can also share your reels. So we are starting a photo circle with all of us. So let's say I went to Vegas, they went to the Bahamas, this one went to St. Lucia. We can all share our content with each other to share it to our social media platforms, and it's original content and it's authentic content, which is what the users want to see. And so that's helpful. So video over pictures for sure.
That's a great tip. Great tip right there. Susie, what role does storytelling or personal travel experience play in selling a cruise?
How much time do we have? Oh, just kidding. I
Everything.
love the storytelling. The storytelling, it shows in my speech. It shows in my sharing of information. I get very enthusiastic. I think it comes right through over the phone, and we're always smiling while we do it. Doesn't matter what kind of day you had, guys. Smile over the phone. I would never hesitate to tell someone when I worked on board, I've never missed the private island, and you won't want to miss it either. I did the first season that Royal Caribbean was in Bermuda. I was on board for 6 months. And that first cruise after COVID, I was in one of the invited guests on board, and I was on TV. They got a picture of me in the buffet line. Don't forget, Carnival has that chocolate lava cake. Holland America has that wonderful bread pudding every afternoon. Get the picture. Make them start experiencing the experience over the phone with you.
Oh, great. Jamie, do you have anything to add to that?
No, the only thing I'll tell you is that when I read that question that we have here, what role does storytelling or personal travel experience play in selling a cruise? I only wrote one word: everything.
I wrote huge. I wrote the word huge. Yeah, that's it.
Everything. And getting onto your own personal social media, it doesn't have to be a perfect picture. It shouldn't be a perfect picture. You don't need to get that perfect Instagrammable picture. That's not really even what people want to see. They want to see genuine, authentic, user generated content. And so look through your phone and see what pictures you took on your last trip. I know you have them in there, and post that and tell the story and tell what your experience was and tell how it made you feel and tell how it made your family feel. And don't ask for a sale. Just share the experience and the sales will come.
I see you nodding over here.
Yeah, that's the TTS method. Tell, then sell. Because you should really never have to ask for the sale. They should ask you. If you're doing social correctly, you never have to ask for a sale. I don't ask for anyone to buy from me. They come to me and ask me for my links. And that's another thing. I don't know if that's in there, but never post an unsolicited link. People don't need it. They don't want it. They won't respond to you. They won't click. And plus, it's bad for the algorithm. Except for on LinkedIn, it doesn't matter as much. But on Facebook, Instagram, all that, they don't let you do that. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
So
paint the picture and create that vision. And once they can see it in their heads, what do you want me to do? What do I do next? Where do I sign? Where do I send the deposit? You know what I mean? But paint the picture.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the great setup of being a good, I don't want to call it a salesperson. It's more of a vacation crafter. It's a vacation crafter, and we do all of our agents, including us here, but all of our agents and all the agents watching. You guys do something so special for the industry and for everybody that works with you. You are giving such a huge talent to them and saving them time, stress, and money. So it's really you just got to get them to come to you, and it's the way you want to get them to ask questions is by you providing, painting that picture and telling that story. That Susie, you told a great story.
Absolutely. So, with so many new ships and experiences launching, how do you stay ahead of what's new and what's hype? Susie, do you want to take that one?
Sure. I mean, you need to set some time aside to do it. There are training modules from every cruise line with updates. If you haven't taken the opportunity to do the Princess training yet, PS, you get a free cruise at the end. So it doesn't take you an hour or a day. It might take you a few weeks, but it's full of information. They do the refreshers, free cruise. There's always seminar at sea opportunities. Get out there, sail, webinars galore, click on them, but do it, put it on your calendar, schedule it, and say every week I'm going to do one thing to enrich my knowledge. The celebrity commitment and loyalty you always are websites from Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, where they always have the latest promotions to stay abreast of the news and be able to share with your guests what's new news and promotions. Good stuff.
Right. Jamie, do you have something to add?
I would say, also just connecting with the various suppliers, connect with your BDMs, then ask them, what do you want to make sure that I know about this product? And what do you want to make sure that I am sharing about this product? Now, the important part is that we're not parrots, right? Like you don't want to just take what they say and regurgitate that back out to your guests. You need to put your own personal spin on it. Make sure it is something that your clientele wants to hear about. But, what I always say is they spend a lot of money trying to figure out what people like, what people need to hear about, where the marketing's going. So follow their lead, listen to what they're saying. And, like I said, don't just parrot it back at people, but put your brand, your personality, your story with it and connect with your guests. See how it's going to connect and resonate and share that.
Shelby, how do you stay ahead of what's new and what's going on?
Well, obviously, our fingers are pretty much on the pulse as agency owners. I don't think there's much new that happens that we don't that slips by us. But as far as for agents, just by the way, Susie, we're going on our Princess Free cruise in December. It's 14-day cruise. I don't know if we're allowed to say that publicly. Actually, I
Wonderful.
won't say the price, but but anyway, it's an amazing opportunity for agents to get educated. Like she says, Virgin also has a great deal. I would just add to that for agent training. They're really, really, really good to agents. I think probably the best in the business for cruises, for big ship cruising. I really recommend them becoming a first mate. But yeah, as far as staying on the edge, I think the way I read the question was like, how do you look through the hype, right? And my answer to that was basically that I let the customer decide what the hype is because, frankly, especially for people like us that have lived on cruise ships, like Susie and I, and Jamie, who's practically lived there, for us, it's different, right? So I can't see through the eyes of someone who has been on 3 cruises or 2 or 1 the same way as I've been on 500. It's different. So I let them decide what they think is hype, and I just deliver the information and try to get, fill the gap, and learn.
Great. Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about river cruises versus traditional ocean cruises. So have you found any success selling these expedition or river cruises to traditional ocean clients, and how would you make that leap? Shelby, do you want to go ahead and start with that?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to this because my story is that we started Travel Fund chartering 2 river cruises in out of Amsterdam, and we filled up almost 2 ships within 3 months, and that was right before COVID, and then my life was destroyed because we had all that money out and all those sales, and we did the right thing by the guests and actually refunded everyone, which was we should have done credits like a lot of other people did, but we didn't, we didn't realize, and we were such a new company, we didn't realize it was going to be 2 years. But river cruising is my obsession. I am on an obsessive like road to rebrand river cruising because it is known for the elderly, and I have no idea why that is because it is so fun and so active and so cultural, and it's like having your own yacht, hop on, hop off yacht. Um, the value is so exponential for what you're getting. A couple of the river cruises companies that we work with, the pricing is literally the same as some of the bigger ships, the bigger new ships that you would go on, these massive ships, which are great and fun. But you're missing out on this hop on, hop off yachting in Europe experience at the same price, with just a 6 hour flight. And it is the bicycles on board, and because there are a lot of older people, and I know, everyone has, especially agents, know more than the populace, but for the populace, they think it's just all old people that don't do anything. There are a lot of elderly people on board, but they're really fun and cool too. And you know what's great is there's no lines because they usually go to bed early, so you have the whole ship to yourself, and then you can hang out in port and really experience the ports to the fullest rather than being rushed on and rushed off. You can have dinner, in the port of call that you're in. So dinner in Amsterdam and dinner in Budapest, and instead of having to rush back on the ship. It's a whole other level of traveling. It becomes becoming from being a traveler to be from being a tourist to becoming a traveler. I think is the big ship to river and expedition. So when those people are when my clients are done with the tourist part of things, and they want to really be culturally immersed and stimulated in different ways, that is the key. So I love river cruising. I'm like the biggest fan, and I'm on a mission to change the image.
Jamie, have you been able to make that leap with your families between the ocean cruises to the river cruises and the expedition cruises?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a two part answer. The first part is no, because I haven't tried and I haven't had any interest currently. I am very, very, very hyper focused on a very specific demographic, and I would almost say a very specific um, supplier. Even, I mean, we work with less than 5 suppliers. Period. Total, all
Very
100% of our business.
focused.
So one, we're very, very focused. And one of my mentors, I heard them say recently, they said, we've been doing a lot this year. We've been taking on a lot. We've been saying yes to so many things. Can someone tell me one thing that we've said no to? And so I just remind myself, like, it's okay to say no if it means maintaining your focus. And it's okay to be super focused. People are looking for experts these days. Do you know what I mean? They want to come to the person who's the expert. And I don't think that it will mean that it limits you to super focus. I think that it'll actually help you better connect with your ideal guest and help your ideal guest find you. So that's the first part. I haven't tried, not interested right now. But when I do, I'm taking my family actually on AMA in the spring. So for me, it's about finding, the right supplier that's correct for my demographic. It's about me doing it first, being able to tell the story, and then maybe we'll start to dip our toes in, very, very slowly and authentically. And AMA has been a great supplier to work with. They know we're, on the long game. It's down the road for us, maybe not right now. And you can't beat the team there and Christine Karsten. She's such a huge proponent of family vacations.
Absolutely.
So it's a great supplier for families.
Agreed. That's a great way of looking at it. Jamie, Susie, have you had that crossover?
Yeah, just a final thought. I love the hop on, hop off yacht. I'll have to remember that one. And I'm pretty sure you're spot on with going with AMA when you start doing the river cruise focus. Um, I have had the opportunity to do about 4 of them, and then I speak from my experience, like we all do. That's how we sell. And the the river cruise lines will tell you what their demographics are, and they'll say your guests that are on in suites on the ocean liners, your premium cruise lines in the better categories, that's who you should focus on, and that's what we do focus on. That's where we make the recommendations because it's in the right budget and price points and service, and on it goes. So we've had some success, absolutely.
Great, wonderful. So, how, Susie, we'll continue with you. How do you differentiate yourself from online cruise sellers and OTAs?
Yes. When I started selling cruises, I only had web leads. That's it. So I learned really quickly about all the big players and the competition when it comes to cruises only and vacations to go and Expedia cruises, which I was part of their opening here in the United States. Guess what? Everybody pay attention. We all work with the same specials, the same promotions, and pretty much the same pricing. They've got lots of dollars. They're in front of our guests, which is not all bad, but don't shy away from the fact that they're calling you to talk about this cruise that they may have seen on promotion with someone else. Group rates is a whole nother discussion and a whole nother webinar probably, but we always tell them, I'm here to assist. Email, text me, call me anytime. Happy to reprice any sailing anytime before final payment. That may scare people. Don't let it. You're there to do that. That's why when they go to those big companies, they may never get that agent again. They may be on hold for a half an hour. My guest can text me and say, I think I saw my cruise went down $500. Whoop-de-doo, I just lost 50 or $60. It doesn't matter. My guests just saved $500. Guess who they're going to stay with and come back to the next time they're ready to buy a cruise? And then they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to tell their friends. It builds really good loyalty, more trust, and it's a success. So don't be afraid of the competition. There's definitely enough business out there for everybody, and go at it head on.
There's enough pie for everyone, right? Jamie, I see you vigorously nodding your head in agreement.
Well, family, I mean, everyone wants to save, right? But families, sometimes, especially young families, they are so cost and price sensitive. So they're looking for savings every place they can get it. So one, we do, as Susie said, we very aggressively price monitor and adjust for our families, right? Because they're going to come back to us. We're going to see that return in future bookings. But when people do come to shop us against a big box or, one of these OTAs, is we say, we can't and don't compete with them, and they can't compete with us. So here's what you're going to get from them. Here's what you're going to get from us. You as the consumer have to choose the experience that you want. If you want a transactional relationship and experience, and you want that, that shopping cart at the end of it, and that's good for you, by all means, go for it. If you want a relationship experience where you've got someone to call regularly, you've got that one point of contact who knows your family, knows your story, knows what you're looking for, is available to you, can share our experiences, then we'd love to work with you.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Shelby, do you see yourself, I mean, obviously, because you are boutique, you see yourself different from those giant agencies, nameless, faceless,
Well,
OTAs?
I mean, all agents save their clients time, money, and stress. We have the best deals that we can meet or beat pretty much any price that's advertised. Plus, we also get extra little bonuses every now and again from different suppliers. So I would say I don't know why anyone would book their own travel when you have a trusted agent, because it's the amount of time that you have to put in and research and that travel agent does, and having a human to talk to versus calling up and getting dial number one and then two and then hold. I mean, like that's not even something I want to do. Like so like I get it. Like I don't understand. I think people think it's going to cost a lot more. I know some agents do charge booking fees, which I'm all about, but then some don't. So I think really it's why wouldn't you go with an agency or an agent knowing that you're going to save time, money, and stress? The thing that differentiates us through everyone else is the fun. We actually used to have a button on our website that would say you have to be fun to enter. and we would not let them in unless they identified as being fun, because we are working so hard too, and we all know, if you've been in the industry a minute, how there can be customers that are just not fun to work with. And quite honestly, like, I have no problem turning away customers that are not fun. I'm like, your money ain't good here, because
Advisors are very valuable. Advisors are very, very
very
valuable.
valuable. And so everything is fun for us. You have to be fun. You have to feel like you're fun, because that's the kind of people we want to work with. And we do everything from luxury to right down the line. But they do definitely, being fun is the big differentiator between our team and our customers, and the industry is what we like to focus on.
And can I just give a quick confidence boost to any
Absolutely.
advisors out there? If you're being shopped against a big box or something like that, stand your ground, know your value. There's always a really nice way to say just about anything. So let them know, how you're going to help them, the value that you're going to bring to them. But we always give the permission to let the guest walk. I mean, we say, if that's what you would like to do, then that's the choice that you should make. And I think sometimes when the guest sees that you're willing to let that sale go because it might not be the right match, or they can't have those cookies anymore, all of a sudden they want the cookies. They're like, no, I'll give up the shopping cart, I want to work with you. When they see that you're willing to to walk away from it, they kind of they want it a little bit more. And more often than not, they come back to us and they go, you know what, we want the value.
Yeah, absolutely. Shelby, I'm going to go to you for this next question about, are you seeing a growing interest in niche cruises like themed sailing, small ships, or expedition cruises? I think this is kind of up the alley for your segment, your market
Yeah,
segment.
definitely theme cruises and small ship cruising. Most of a lot of our demographic is comes from a lot of the singles that I have done in the past, and the big ship when I was the cruise director. So they've done a lot of the big ship cruising. So they are really I want to gift this to them. I'm like, please spend your money on something a little bit more, like, authentic, that is going to be culturally authentic. And I know that that's going to be something that they crave in the future, and I know their money is being well spent there because they've already experienced the big ship life. Which is just like everything in life. It's not a bad thing. It's just like going into school, right? You start in grade school, you go to high school, college, and maybe you end up in university. But that's a progression that I think my network is making, and I'm just happy to be the one to gift this beautiful thing to them, because people are creatures of habits too, and they just kind of do the same thing. So really just educating them. The small ship cruising and theme cruising is huge. A lot of our people, like, they have bands on cruises, rock and roll cruises, disco theme cruises, dance cruises. So we do have that niche too that we're working into. And expedition cruising, like, I keep trying, but I feel like I'm a little too ahead of the game. I need to pull back a bit. They're not ready yet. I keep saying, this is amazing, we got to do this, but they're not ready yet. So I haven't gotten to that level with the majority of our clientele. We only have a few expedition cruisers out there, but I think that again is like the university. You know what I mean? Like when we finally graduate to university, when they're done with the river and small ship cruising. So that's the progression I see.
Susie, have you seen the with your clients a move over to the theme cruises or expedition cruises?
Not really theme or expedition. We've sold a few, but just a few. What we do see is because we're so heavy with repeats and referrals, the repeats, and we've, have clients that we've had for 30 years, they're always looking for the new itineraries. So the itineraries that are popping up now with Iceland, Greenland, more in Portugal. We just booked our first 2027 Asia, the Vietnam, Japan itineraries. They're bringing a lot of excitement, and the ships and the cruise lines are responding with inventory.
Jamie, are you seeing any niche cruises, any interest in niche cruises with your families?
That it's not currently really our area. Not specifically with the families. We are kind of starting to do some little like moms getaway cruises every year. We do it on a family friendly ship because some families and moms and kids are just a package deal. So they still need those resources. So we don't really get into it a whole lot, but I mean, my general thoughts are just, people love a theme. They love being part of a community, and I think they're fantastic.
Right. Well, dude,
Absolutely.
you're a parent though too. Like, so sorry to cut you off, Lydia. But I mean, when you're a parent, with small kids, like that is your life for, 12, 15 years. But those people are going to grow and you're going to have clients that, grow into the next area. You know what I mean? But it makes sense that right now, you're just surviving. At least I was just surviving as a parent. It's just
I think we
survival. Just go sleep and keep the kids happy.
I think we all, yeah, at that point in our lives, I think we were all on that same level there.
Yeah.
So, Susie, how are you addressing price objections or clients when they go online to compare deals? How do you handle that?
And they do, and sometimes they give me the deal and say, can you price that for me? But we won't be successful all the time, but we're certainly going to try and be real about what they're presenting to you. Carnival has this infamous category 1A, which is bunk beds, so it's always the lead-in price point. They're not calling you to sleep in bunk beds, so you have that knowledge to share. Make sure you always put in those qualifiers, the 55 plus, the state of residency, the police and military discounts, the more recent teacher discounts from NCL. And if you're pricing Holland and Carnival and Princess, those past guests are being targeted. So when you start that sale, put in that VIFP number, put in that phone number to capture their deals, because they do target marketing and they will have deals that nobody else might have. So you will get them the best price that way. Also, we do use our BDMs if we need to close the sale, because we have a, a agency that's got a better, offer, price, whatever, and our BDMs will come through with an onboard credit or something to help us close the sale. But as far as pricing as a big picture, we find it very beneficial not to tell them it's 4,000, tell them it's 2,000 per guest, break it down into a daily rate, and then they may understand better the value of the entire sale.
Jamie, do you agree that that's a good way to kind of manage these objections and these price issues?
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with absolutely everything she said, especially, my advisors when they come and they say, the price, the guest is telling us this price, but I'm getting this. The first thing we do is, have you checked all of your qualifiers? But then from like a bigger perspective, when guests are going like, oh man, I thought cruises were cheap, I wasn't expecting the price to be that high. It was kind of how I read the question. So one, I like to remind people like, cruising still overall is the best value vacation that you can get. I mean, where else are you going to go see a Broadway show, go ice skating, go to 5 different locations and all of that. The second part, just to give, people a little confidence boost in these conversations that they're having, maybe a little bit, completely my personal opinion, is when did cruise lines ever commit to always being the cheapest vacation option out there? I mean, are they always obligated to be cheap? And why should they be? They're providing great value and great experiences. And a lot of times I actually think that some of these prices are well worth it. So stand your ground, and the value's there.
Shelby, do you have anything to add to that?
They totally covered so much. And Susie, I love the way you really listed out. It's such a good reminder to all agents. I would, the only thing I would say is I usually price exactly how the cruise line's going to price, because I know that they're looking. And so I just go there first and figure out what we have to do to manage that later. And then the other thing is I really like it when it's possible to say, just screenshot me that deal that you want me to look into, because they usually have, especially new clients, not repeaters, but new clients have already looked. And so that way you could, if they had, they showed you that 1A special, like Susie was mentioning, you could say, oh yeah, that's 2 bunk beds. Did you know that? And then, let's more conversation, more questions, as we had started with. For those of you who missed, please rewind it, because the most valuable information was in the beginning with how to continue that conversation and ask the right questions. And everybody had such great input on that.
And then you've shown your value. They go, oh, I didn't know that.
Exactly.
They're nervous about what's the next wrong choice that they're going to make. I mean, like, how can you help me not avoid these other bad decisions?
Exactly. Well, there you go. There's the value in the advisor. He's not just a computer spitting out numbers with no, nothing behind it. we're at 6 minutes out, so we're gonna go for a couple more questions. So what are your go-to closing lines or phrases that help seal the deal with hesitant clients? Let's start off with Susie again. What are
I
your
think it's
favorite lines?
yeah, thank you. I think it's always urgency. That's the way you should sell. And it's talking about the promotion ending, reminder that the sailing's filling up. How far out is the sailing? I tell them I can always refund the deposit. And people might get big eyes and think, you really do that? Of course I do. And how many have I refunded? Almost none. But get that commitment, get them to deposit. Now they're going to talk about going on their cruise, and up here they're going on their cruise and they're probably not going to cancel. Um, don't want to miss the experience. Put a cruise on hold, email it to them. They'll be more committed. That's Cruise 101. And if you're not doing it, start doing it. Get names, even if you have to dummy a name, a TBA, whatever. Get that actual booking, send it over to them to review with whoever they're sailing with, and you'll have a better, more successful close rate.
Jamie, what are your go-to closing lines?
I'll just be really quick. It's don't ask, tell. I'm going to send you the deposit form. I'm going to email you this. I'm going to go ahead and grab this cabin, and then I'll send you the deposit authorization. And and if they don't do it, then they didn't do it. No harm, no foul. Do you know what I mean? And if they do, it's right there. It's waiting for them. It's in their email. You've made it as easy as possible, and let them know that you're available.
Shelby, do you have any lines or any
I,
phrases that you
I love what the lady said. I don't really hard close anyone ever actually, and I don't teach that. That's my prerogative, or maybe because I've been hard sold too many times in my life, and I just reciprocation. Um, I still think you should go by what Susie and Jamie said, but I don't do that. But I do tell the truth, which is this price can totally go up tomorrow or in the next hour. Just so you know, if you don't have a deposit down, the prices it does fluctuate, and they do fluctuate maddening on a cruise. So I would hate for you to lose that deal. But that's I don't push anyone because it's my time might be better spent somewhere else. But I still think Susie and Jamie probably you should go with their lead on that one.
Well, and we don't hard sell.
No, we don't either.
Traffic is primarily women. I got into sales and actually in furniture when I was 18 in North Carolina, and I learned very quickly, like in particular, women don't really like to be sold to. We're smart. We're
Yeah.
super. We don't like being manipulated. We like making our own decisions. And so really we are there as kind of like the problem solver, helping them figure it out. But I do make sure, trust me, I'm going to make sure that we've got those tools ready for you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to pressure you or
Absolutely.
manipulate you, but I'm going to make sure that you've got what you need. Let's get this moving.
Absolutely.
And
So
our
we have a
keyword,
couple. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
our keyword is assist. We don't hard sell either, but
There
by
you go.
giving them all those tools and sending it to them, it moves the process.
Perfect. Perfect. So we're going to take a couple of questions. We have a couple minutes left from our panelists. We have one that is, do you post on both your agency page and your personal page? Shelby, do you want to give us a quick answer on that one?
This is like my biggest pet peeve for all agents that try to keep things private. I always tell people if you're selling anything, you need to do it publicly on social media, and nothing is private on social media. So to operate like anything is private is a disservice to your business, and you lose out on so much of the algorithm. Every single big builder for travel that's on social media will tell you they got the majority of their leads from their personal page, every single one without a doubt. So for you to try, and if you're trying to be private because of whatever XYZ, believe me, I've heard of all. I know we all have issues, family, ex-husbands, da 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 da. You just have to block these people. You can't rely on anything being private. And if you're holding yourself back to posting on your business page will very likely never be anywhere near the income producer that your private page will be. And it's a limited time because social media does not really like selling online. They don't really like it. They really want you to be social. They don't really want you to sell, and they can turn that off at any time. So use it as soon as you can, and as much as you can use your personal profile.
So no separation of church and state there. So
No.
we have one more question here. What types of fees do you charge? And if you do charge a fee, what types of fees do you charge? Jamie?
And don't charge fees.
You don't charge a fee? Susie, do you charge fees?
We never charge fees.
You do not. Shelby, I believe you did mention that you charge
Yeah,
fees.
we don't charge fees on things like cruises because the commission, and it's actually quite, it's not very huge time investment for us. But if it's a build your own, like we're going to Japan and we're doing different itineraries all day, and you want different hotels and different areas and train tickets and all that, then there's a booking fee, and we do charge booking fees for air as well. And we also do booking deposits. That's one thing I would really recommend to all new agents, because new agents get really frustrated because they get asked to do a lot of quotes, but they don't get the actual sale because people are just kind of kicking tires. So I tell new agents, do the first quote for free and tell them that. Be like, I'll give you the first quote for free. The second one, I don't care the number, $25, $50, whatever it is. But get that deposit, and that's not a fee. It's just going to go towards your final payment. And then we work out that through the agency. But I always recommend new agents to start getting comfortable with asking for a deposit. It's not a fee. It's just a quote deposit for the quote, because otherwise agents are time and expertise is used, and they get frustrated and will leave the industry if they aren't able to figure that out. So that's my personal recommendation to any of my onboarding team.
Perfect. Thank you. I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Shelby, Jamie, and Susie, for joining us today. I want to thank everybody in our chat room here for their questions, your input, and your attention to our webinar. And don't forget that this is being recorded, and you're going to receive a link via email for the recording and for the copy of the report. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you to our panelists, and everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.